Hey guys, welcome back. I have another video showing the Tzeentch Daemons for a start collecting slash how to for Warhammer The Old World. Just like the last video, it'll be 1,000 points for novices and beginners. And again, I will make the note that if you are more experienced or you do play the army, you may disagree about the options. I just think this is the best way for beginners to get a feel of the specific gods. So for today, it's the Tzeentch Daemons. And just like the last video, I will discuss the army rule for Tzeentch Daemons. All demonic alignment Tzeentch does is give wizards +1 to cast. So unfortunately, quite a few of the units in the army don't actually get a benefit. So I would say out of all the 4 major chaos gods, Tzeentch has conditionally the worst demonic alignment, as again it will only affect a handful of specific units. Now the bonus is very good. The +1 to cast makes your wizards tremendously better, so level 4s effectively become level 5s, but again half your army, especially combat units, won't get any benefit. And I will not go over the instability and the ward save, as that again was covered in the previous video. And if you are creating an army, it's in the specific army rules. So what you're looking in front of you is 1,000 points of Tzeentch Daemons. Unlike Nurgle, this army total is 996. And I feel like this gets you the most cost efficient army if you were to buy it from GW models currently. But at the same time, I do think it provides a good feel for the army. So what we're looking at here for characters, you have a Herald of Tzeentch on a chariot, or a burning chariot, pardon me. You have then for core, 7 Furies here, 10 blue horrors, and a unit of 2 Brimstone Horrors. Then for special, you're going to have 2 units of 3 flamers. Then for rare, you're going to have a single burning chariot. So just like the last video, we're going to go in detail for each unit specifically, just some analysis about them, wargear options, and then at the end, I'll show you a quick deployment or a basic deployment. So guys, starting off with the Tzeentch Herald on Burning Chariot. This is the only character of the army, unfortunately, as I think this is the best option for a beginner. Tzeentch characters are not really meant for combat, and unlike my Nurgle video, I am trying to avoid having a Demon Prince in the army. I think the Demon Prince, as I mentioned before, is very good overall, but I just want to show a little bit of variety per army. And Tzeentch compared to Nurgle has a ton more options. So for this basic army, we're forfeiting the Prince and doing a very different playstyle. So what you see ahead of you is a Tzeentch Herald on Burning Chariot. Now the Tzeentch Herald himself costs 90 points. You're going to upgrade him to a level 2. So that's another 30 points. So he's 120 points naked. We're getting no war gear options. The reason being, 1,000 points, you don't have much flexibility. But the chariot you're purchasing, I treat it as the war gear. So his stat line is not impressive at all. He is weapon skill 3, strength 3, toughness 3, 2 wounds, initiative 3, and 2 attacks. What he does have, though, being a level 2 wizard, is he has access to battle magic, demonology, dark magic, elementalism, and illusion magic. And I think for the purpose of this army, your best bet is either elementalism or illusion. I'm just going to highlight a couple spells from each. Elementalism has the spell Plague of Rust, probably one of the best hex spells in the game. It's range 21, and what it does is it reduces the armor value of a target by 2. That can help tremendously against high armored units like Bretonnians or Dragon Ogre Shaggoths. I think for illusion, what great spell you have is the Mirage spell. It's the 6th spell, and what it does is it's a hex that's 15 inches away, and the unit you target cannot charge until your next turn. They cannot march, and when they move, it's -2 movement. So you can shut down any big bad threats on the table that your army cannot handle. And for Tzeentch, you really don't have any combat units. And then one highlight I should mention is the Tzeentch signature spell. One of the best ones is called the Gift of Mutation. It's a little bit different where it has two casting values. On an 8 plus, it's only 12 inches. You reduce an enemy toughness, strength, or weapon skill by D3. If you cast on a 12 plus, it's two of those you get to choose, and it'll last until the start of your next phase. Why this is so huge is being a level 2 wizard, you have +3 to cast. So even though I said in an 1,000 point comp, tell your friends, try not to play with, more than a level 2 wizard, your Tzeentch buff just gives you +1 to cast. So I don't think you're breaking that rule for your league or starting off, but it can feel a little bit bad if your caster has a slight bonus. Now to the wargear option, the Burning Chariot itself. It's quite nice. I think the Burning Chariot is one of the best options for the Tzeentch Herald because it gives the chariot, or gives the model 4 extra wounds. So this model actually has 6 wounds total, toughness 4, and you're in heavy chariot, which means when you charge, you do d6 +1 impact hits at your strength, so strength 4 at -2 AP. Not only that, if you do not march, your chariot can have a free 90-degree pivot. Since you are Tzeentch, this thing actually flies 9, so you can march 18 inches. Being a chariot, the model has 360 degrees line of sight. Not only that, the chariot has a boatload of rules, so it's not modeled because it's too much to put onto a single chariot, but this also gives you an Exalted Flamer. He is a level 1 wizard, so this model here is actually 2 wizards in 1. The Exalted Flamer can take pretty much the same spells from the lords. He's a level 1 only. He can shoot, has D3 shots at strength 4 -1 AP. And it comes with 3 blue horrors as well. So this model has a lot of shooting, a lot of wounds, and the 2 screamers pulling the chariot. They have a special attack called Lamprey Bite. They have 4 attacks total at strength 4, -1 AP. Against monsters, it does D3 multiple wounds. Then there's a special rule, slashing attacks. If you fly over a unit that is not engaged in combat, you automatically inflict 2 D3 strength 4 hits onto the target. In the past, I've done this to kill random wizards that aren't in a unit or hurt some chaff. So this model is probably taking the bulk of the video as he literally has so many rules to go over. Now he is very expensive. He will be costing 310 points, which is why we only have one model for a character in the army. But I do think he is a great foundation for the army. To purchase the model now, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is get the GW kit, the Burning Chariot. It comes with a Herald. It comes with all the models. Last I checked, it's maybe $40 to $50. I'm sure you can find it cheaper. The model you see ahead of you is again my old first edition conversion. I took some old flamers or old disc of Tzeentch, made them flamers or screamers. Took a disc of Tzeentch and took 2 blue horrors and modeled them and made them into one herald. So this model I know is a boatload of information, but he honestly has an incredible amount of special rules. I think I advise you guys to also, as I'm talking, follow along, have the stats in front of you so you can check everything off. I tried covering everything as I could, but again, he does come with a lot of rules, so it is hard a little bit to make sure you cover all of the bases. And again, he's your only character, and with no wargear options, it's because the chariot itself is 190 points, so it feels like one giant wargear option already. So this is the only character we're taking. I'm going to move along to the core, and then followed by the special, and then the rare choices. So the first core choice we're looking at are the Brimstone Horrors. They're a swarm unit. They are 38 points apiece, so the unit in front of you is a total of 76 points. These guys are a very odd unit in the army. They've been added in the Old World. They never existed in any previous edition. They were created from Age of Sigmar, and then when the Old World came out, they just said grab the Brimstones and put them on 40 mils and have a swarm. So what do they bring to the table? They're weapon skill 2, strength 2, toughness 3. They have 6 wounds apiece and 4 attacks apiece. They have flaming attacks, and that's pretty much it. These guys aren't that good in the sense when you compare them to Nurglings from the Nurgle Demons. These guys are honestly not impressive, but I do think they have a role. The 2 swarms you see in front of you for 76 points bring 12 wounds. Being 6 wounds apiece, they can tie a lot of chaff down. They can be a small speed bump to certain units. So tactically, they're there to protect a unit / tie down chaff, or in some cases hold an objective if you have it in the back zone. Not much more to say to these guys besides I think they'll be fun to try and play with. As being 6 wounds again, the highlight of these models is the wound count. The attacks won't really do much to a normal unit, and having that 5-up regen is still nice for the demons. But I'd say play them to have fun. Now the cost of them in real life dollars is quite unique, as when you buy them, you also buy the blue horrors. So you're getting 2 core for the price of 1 box. And I believe that box is 40 to 50 bucks. All my prices is a bit guessing. It's been a while since I've actually seen it in person, but it just sounds right. So for 40 to 50 bucks to get 2 core choices is very solid. And it's a good foundation to keep that mono Tzeentch theme. So we're going to move on to the blue horrors of Tzeentch now. So we're moving on to the second core choice, and it is the blue horrors of Tzeentch. Now you may be wondering what the hell you're looking at. It is a very long movement trait. So blue horrors, I personally believe, should be played like what you're seeing ahead of you. They don't have a full command option. They are open ordered, and this unit's 96 points, and you're paying for the unit champion here for 6 additional points. And what their role on the tabletop is, for being so cheap, the unit you see in front of you gets 20 shots. They have the wargear option, or they have the wargear, the Flames of Tzeentch. It's range 18. It is quick shot, which is very important, and I'll get back to that. Strength 3 with 0 AP, but they have multiple shots too. So the whole regiment you see in front of you has 20 shots. Why that's great is you're just throwing so many dice. You're either going to scare some opponents, you're actually going to do damage if you shoot some chaff units, or if you synergize it with the gift of mutation, as I mentioned in the Herald section. If you lower a unit's toughness by enough, your strength 3 shots actually will, do damage. And quick shot is very important. It allows you to stand and shoot no matter the distance the enemy is. So usually in the Old World, if I'm not mistaken, the wording might be off, but you cannot stand and shoot if you are less than the movement of the enemy. But for quick shot, even if they're an inch away, you can shoot. So basically you're going to get 1 turn of 20 shots. If the unit is close enough, you get another 20 shots. Realistically, if you're not playing against Peg Knights or Cavalry, you will probably, being 18 inches away, you'll get 2 turns of shooting, which would be 40 shots. Then that 3rd turn, when they charge you, you'll get to stand and shoot. So this unit can throw an incredible amount of shooting. Now, why do you have the champion model? That is just to throw challenges. In all of my games I've played, if a hero comes in barreling towards your unit, you simply just want to throw the champion out there, let them get some overkill, and try to save your bodies. That's the only reason why you're going to take him. He is only 6 points. so he's very cheap. And the stat line of these guys is honestly not impressive either. They are movement 4, weapon skill 2, they are ballistic skill 3, which is important, strength 3, toughness 3, initiative 3, 1 attack. They do have that 5-up demon save, which is always very nice to have. But again, they're cheap for what they do. And because they're an open order, if you only move and you don't march, you can get that free 90-degree pivot. Very nice to have. Now, money-wise, like I just mentioned, this kit, if you buy the modern equivalent, comes with Brimstone Horrors. So for 40 to 50 bucks, you're getting the 2 core choices out of the way. It's very nice to have. If you get those burning chariots for the Herald, you might have some spare blue horrors to save to add on for later units. So definitely a very solid choice to have for a full Tzeentch Demon army. We're going to move on to the Furies, and after that we'll be done with core. So we're looking at now the last core choice, which are the Furies. This is going to be a bit shorter as I discuss these guys in length in the Demons of Nurgle start collecting. The only difference is there are 7 models in this unit with no mark. Now, I did paint them to be a bit more Tzeentchian. These models are a out of production Citadel 1980s gargoyle miniatures, and they do look very whimsical, which fits the theme of Tzeentch. Unfortunately, they have no mark. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the mark of Tzeentch doesn't mean crap to certain units. One of the units are the Furies. If you give them the mark of Tzeentch, you get no benefit. It is a waste of 2 points a model, which will add up, once you have a couple of them. So for this unit, it's just going in naked at 84 points. I guess if you didn't watch the Nurgle video, these guys pack a mean punch. On the charge, with Furious Charge, they have 2 attacks apiece. Weapon skill 3, strength 4, only toughness 3, but initiative 4. They fly 8, and they have swift stride. So again, they have a 17-inch threat range. Not much more to highlight about them, as I mentioned a lot more in the past video. I'd say cost-wise, again, depending on GW, if you get their Warcry models or Reaper alternative miniatures, you're looking at probably, let's just be generous and say $50 again. So not too pricey to this point to collect the army, actually. So we're going to move on to the first, or the special units, which are the Flamers of Tzeentch. So guys, welcome back. We have now the first special, or the only special. There's going to be 2 units of 3 Flamers, and there's a lot of options for these guys. As this is the start collecting, I am just going to keep it simple. You are going to pay the base 120 for 3 Flamers. So the 2 units in total, 240 points. Not that expensive. What do they bring to the table? These guys may be Tzeentch's best unit / best tricks to annoy your opponent. So basically you're paying 40 points a model. What does that give you? These guys move 6. They are weapon skill 2, strength 4, initiative 4, and toughness 4. So that is incredibly good for a ranged unit. They have 2 attacks apiece, but the only thing, actually, sorry about that, the only thing is they are on 30 mils. I guess that's the biggest thing I should have been noting. By being on 30 mils, these guys are harder to shoot with, as a lot of people do play skirmisher units wrong. If you try to shoot past your friend, for example, like that, this guy is being covered by his own friend. So these guys won't have any modifiers, but this guy will. So that's one note when you use these guys. I think smaller units is the best way to go with the Flamers. Keep them cheap and keep them small so your opponent's going to be annoyed by them. Why the Flamers of Tzeentch are so good? Their movement 6 means they march 12. These guys have a different shooting profile. It's Warp Flame. It's range 18, strength 4, -1 AP. They are flaming attacks. They have move and shoot, quick shot, and multiple shots D3. So let's go over the move and shoot. This throws a lot of opponents off, they don't realize it. Move and shoot means this unit can march and still shoot. That is incredible. And they get no modifier for moving. So these guys can basically move 12 inches, shoot 18. The only modifiers you're going to get are from probably long range and multiple shots. So it's -2. These guys being ballistic skill 4 means you are usually with the 2 modifiers hitting on 5s. That's very good at strength 4 -1. So you're getting quite a few shots from these guys. They are pretty survivable with 2 wounds apiece. As you play though, more and more Tzeentch Daemons, you can upgrade the champion for the Pyrocaster. 7 points gets him a higher bullet skill. And eventually, when you play bigger point games, you can start tinkering around and making them casters. You're going to pay a premium price to do that. Now, the reason I didn't go into detail for the beginner video is I think, again, in 1,000 points, try to get a feel for the army. When you play with your friends in escalation, you don't want to be too heavy-handed with the magic. So at least taking 6 of them, you feel like you're getting a taste of Tzeentch and how they play, but at the same time, you're not going to be too oppressive with them. I think if you play Tzeentch, really lean towards Flamers. They're very fun to play with. They do require a little bit of positioning and a little bit of thought, as even though I do say they're cheap, once you start adding a lot more of them, and in bigger point games, your opponent has more threats. They also give your opponents a lot more points if you misposition them and they die early on. Cost-wise, last I bought the official GW figures, I am sure you can get 6 Flamers for 30 to maybe $60 if you buy from eBay, secondhand markets. The models you see ahead of you are the first edition fungus looking guys. I really do love them, as my whole theme is first edition. But I do encourage Tzeentch players to have fun with the Flamers. There's a lot of different playstyles with them, and I think they're going to be basically your main staple in the army. So we're going to move on to the last option, which is the Burning Chariot of Tzeentch. So guys, we are with the last option of the army, which is the Burning Chariot. I discussed this in length in the beginning with the Herald, but I'll go over it once again. This rare choice is 190 points. What he brings to the table is a boatload of rules that will make your opponent a bit confused. Basically, the Burning Chariot has 3 profiles. It has the mounts, which are the screamers, 4 attacks at weapon skill 3, strength 4, 2 attacks at initiative 4. What that means is they're doing a decent amount of attacks. Against monsters, it's D3 wounds, and they have the slashing attacks, which means once the chariot flies over a unengaged enemy unit, it will do D3 wounds at strength 4 per screamer. So there's 2 of them, you're getting 2 D3 strength 4 hits. Then the second profile is an Exalted Flamer. An Exalted Flamer has 3 wounds, or if he was not on the chariot, an Exalted Flamer would have 3 wounds. On the chariot, the Exalted Flamer has weapon skill 2, bullet skill 5, strength 4, initiative 4, and 2 attacks. What he brings again is he's automatically a level 1 wizard, and he has the Warp Flame shooting attack. So if this chariot marches 18 inches, you can still shoot with this guy, which is incredible. Now, the only thing that you can't do is the 3 blue horrors, if you march, cannot shoot. But the 3 blue horrors have 2 shots apiece. So if the chariot doesn't move, you get D3 shots from the flamer, then 6 shots from the blue horrors. So this chariot can throw a lot of shots out, especially the fact being level 1. You have access to Demonology, Dark Magic, Elementalism, and Illusion. If you settle for Demonology, the Summoning, the Signature Missile, this unit, if he doesn't move, you can throw 2d6 Strength 4 -1 missile attacks, D3 shots at 18 inches, Strength 4 -1, and 6 shots at range 18, Strength 3. So the Chariot has a lot of shooting, uh, fly 9, so very fast movement, and being a heavy chariot, if you charge, you will have d6 plus 1 impact hits at minus 2 AP at strength 4. Definitely a very fun model to have. Now that we are concluding the unit analysis, I'm going to put the biggest note for Tzeentch. If you play against Bretonnia, it will not be fun. Most of your units fly. Um, and with the Falcon Horn that's so popular, you probably will not be flying. So I should just give fair warning. If you play this army, try to ask your opponents in the beginning to not take it so you get a feel for the army. Once you get a couple games under your belt, practice against the Falcon Horn so you know how to adjust for it. It is a very feel bad moment when I see people not expecting that, and you just have to prepare for it because Bretonnia is such a popular army in the current edition. I think it's fair I give you fair warning. If I didn't, I feel like I'd be doing a disservice to you guys. So we're going to quickly recap the whole cost to get this army and then a very quick generic deployment for the army. So guys, to recap the cost, I think you're looking honestly between, again, for Nurgle, if you buy them from the secondhand market like eBay, used kits, or brand new on eBay is usually cheaper, you can easily get this army for 200. I'd be surprised if you're paying 300, but the army is incredibly cheap. The blue horrors and the brimstones come in one kit. You're getting 3 flamers per kit. Probably, I think for 6 flamers, if you're paying $60 below, that's pretty fair. Each burning chariot kit should be like 50. And then the Furies should roughly be 50. You can make it cheaper if you find some alternative miniatures. But basically, you're looking for 1 box of blues and brimstones, 2 kits of burning chariots, 2 small packs of flamers, and then the Furies. So incredibly cheap to get your hands on. Now we're going to move on to the basic deployment. So for the basic deployment, this army is a little bit more unique than Nurgle because I'm going to be honest, you have to be flexible. So to start off with something that's very generic, I put the Furies again in front of the army. Why I do this is you're going to assume the Furies will be on the left or the right flank. You're going to Vanguard 8 and try to hunt down War Machine, other chaff, or lone wizards. So this unit's very easy to think about. I would say keep the blue horrors and the brimstones like this in the center, where you have a good arc of shooting line of sight, and with the brimstones, they can act like a speed bump if you don't want the enemy to come too fast. They can tie something up. Now, why you have the flamers and the 2 chariots on the flanks? With the speed, with the chariots being able to fly 9, march 18, and the flamers being able to march 12 and always shoot, you should have something like this where in a smaller point game, you can pretty much fly to the outskirts, start throwing off your magic, your shooting. Your opponent's going to have to start splitting his army up, and with how fast your units move, you can reconvene in the middle, or let's say you deploy it like this. Your opponent, Bob, puts more of his units aiming for this flank. These units can just return back here, get away from them. They would have to march up this way while your whole units are shooting back this way. So I'd say Tzeentch is very flexible. You're mobile. Depending on the spells you get from elementalism, demonology. If you use, let's say, Seed of Shadows, these guys fly 12 now, which means they can march 24 inches and still shoot. So if you get that spell off on this unit, they could fly all the way out here and be behind the enemy, out of their line of sight. If you get elementalism, walk the mythical pathways, you can grab a chariot and just move it 12 inches in a new position. So with the spells that this guy will be bringing to the army, plus his level 1, and this spellcaster too, you can be very mobile in 1,000 points. I know this video is a little bit not, I feel like, as concrete as the Nurgle. That's because Tzeentch has a bit too many ways to play, but also their glass cannon. This army here, if you charge them, they will fold. I'm not going to be very blunt with you. You have to accept that while you are playing this army. You need the magic and you need good positioning for shooting. If you don't get both of these, your army is not long for this world. But I hope you guys liked this video. I know there was some comments asking for a part 2 to expand the Nurgle force. I'll definitely work on that later this week. I think just getting these start collecting videos early on will help, again, beginners start getting ready to play some Old World, as again, this army, the model count is tremendously small. You can easily paint this within 2 months and start gaming, even a month, with the new contrast paints you all can use, and being Tzeentch, being all these crazy colors, it should be pretty straightforward. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll be back with maybe more battle reports. Definitely a part 2 for both Nurgle and Tzeentch. And I'll soon be making a Slaanesh army, which will be a whole different project in itself. So till then, hope you guys are having a great hobby day.